Hi, how y'all doing? Fat Guy Flies RC here. We're going to do the build video of the FMS 1200mm CJ6 version 2 Nanchang. Now if I'm pronouncing that wrong, forgive me. But this is a very simple build. You can see the parts out in front of you. Let me draw attention to the screw count. You've got a little hub spinner there. Assemblies for the propeller, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these long screws that take a 2 millimeter hex head to drive. And then you've got 5, you got an extra of each. And then you got 5 of these small screws that are Phillips head that put the propeller hub together, that has a hexagon connection that goes in the front of the motor. Very simple build. And like I say, the screws of these Lorden screws are all the same length. 4 in the wing and 2 in the tail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you got an extra one. Alright, got one pitot tube that is the only glue assembly that glues in the leading edge of the left wing. So that's pretty much it. I have discovered with this build though that they do not include a wide harness, and I believe there's a wide harness needed for the rudder and the servo rudder, or for the rudder and for the nose gear to link together and be controlled together. Or you can do it on a 5th or a 7th channel and do it in a mix, whichever you prefer. I prefer a Y because, you know, why not? Anyways, but we'll see how that goes. All right, get the chair out of the way. Very simple build. I didn't even worry about doing an unboxing because, you know, hey, it's just a few parts. You got your 2-blade propeller, you got your wing, you got your vertical stabilizer, your canopy, and your fuselage, and that's pretty much it. You have one control rod to hook, and that is to the elevator. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is put on the elevator. So let's move the wing up out of the way, and just so you know, your retracts and your split flap, all the servos, everything is already included. Even your servos and your linkages on your ailerons are already hooked up, so you don't have to worry about that. So let's put the wing out of the way right now and turn our attention to the fuselage. You've even got an elevator and a dummy antenna already installed. Now, when you unbox this, be very careful. You're going to have to unclip all these wires in this quick connect. They're all bundled together, okay, and you're going to have with a little bitty zip tie. So get yourself a pair of little crimpers. Let's see if I can dig them out real quick, like these, and carefully remove that zip tie. You don't want to cut any of your wires. Now, I guess you could unhook them, and then drag them through, but for this build, I think it'd be easier just to let the wires go through the fuselage and connect it to your receiver. All right, let's get started now with the elevator. It only goes on one way, and that is the red side down, which has the control horn already installed. So you can see that it's already installed. It's also got that, I forget what you call that, hard wire, that loop that goes here, here, and here. It controls both sides. So like you do with any other foam model, as soon as you get it out, start working. Looks like laminated, looks like laminated connections there for the foam hinge. Might want to, that looks pretty good though. I mean, that foam hinge looks pretty good. So we're not going to mess with it. And see how incredibly hard that is to install. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. And all you do, you get 2 of these long screws, if you can get a hold of them. Drop them bad boys in there. Just to let you know, they drop down into brass fittings, so which is nice. Brass backup plates or eyelets or whatever you want to call them. So that's very nice. Now, I have not put this model together and took it apart and everything. This is the first time I have assembled this model. So if I run into errors and problems, you're going to discover them with me. Okay, I don't seem to be gripping anything, so let's see if maybe let's go with this back one here. And that one right away found its purchase. And remember, whenever you're putting these models together, even if they're going metal into metal, that metal is still glued into plastic or the foam. So give her a nice tight snug and then back off half a turn. Okay, so this one should have found its home now. Maybe not. Hold on, let's see what we got going here. These are the common problems whenever you're assembling something. Sometimes things just don't line up the way they should. That second one did beautifully. This one's wanting to be a bother. So the other one grabbed immediately. This one here seems to, let's get a, see if we can't pull that out of there. Oh, this is one of those things that you just have to deal with when you're putting models together. Alright, looks like it's lined up right. Let's just simply try a different screw. It shouldn't matter, but sometimes just a little bit off here is all it takes. Okay, folks, I'm going to have to stop the camera and see if I can find out what's going on. Bear with me. Alright, all I did was just slid the tail out, slid it back in, and for whatever reason, she lined up nice and perfect this time. So, go figure. Make sure it's nice and tight, and like I say, all the way where you think it's tight enough, and then back it off just a touch. Let me tighten this one here up. So I obviously had to take it out. And then all the way nice and tight, and then back it off half a turn. Alright, let's take a look at this. See what we got here. We got a nice strong connection there. Alright, well that was incredibly hard. Alright, let's turn our attention to the wing now. Like I say, you've got the bottom of your fuselage here. You've already unclipped your quick connect. Now you're going to take all your little screw, your little wires and everything. What you're going to make sure you've got is a gear, an aileron, a flap, and 2 LED leads. So you should have 5 leads or 5 wires dangling down in there. So make sure you don't have anything bunched up. Okay. Let's take 5 or 4 of these long 2mm head hex head screws. put them in our wing here. It should just drop right in if you've got your wing aligned correctly. All right, good thing to do here is lift up. Make sure you see everything kind of dangling there. Okay, take our 2mm hex head. And just like, you know, lug nuts on a vehicle, on a wheel, alternate. Alternate your tightening things down. You'll feel a grab. It's very obvious. A little bit deeper of a connection up here. All right, that's finally wanting to grab now. All right, let's make sure we. All right, got a nice seal, nice lines there. But you know what? That back one seems like it's still up a bit. All right, if you put your finger or your thumb on the other side, you can feel that crease there, and as you tighten down, you'll feel that crease pinch. So you'll know. So I got my little finger there. There. You see that foam indent just a little bit? You know you've gotten tight enough. Okay? And when that foam expands, it'll push against your connection, so you'll know. Yeah, see, I'm feeling that pinch just a touch. Foam's starting to crease in. Do the same thing over here. Feel that pinch of the line. Foam's starting to crease. Back off just a touch. So now I should have a good, strong connection there. And I believe I do. All right. So that is the basic assembly. Okay, very, very basic assembly of your aircraft. Now, turn our attention to the propeller. Okay. Propeller is always going to go, especially if they painted it, with a bladed side leading the edge of the propeller towards you. In other words, if you see the propeller angled out towards your body and it turns this way, then you'll know it's going to push air back that way. So, has a little hex that fits perfectly in there. So you know that's the bottom part. Then you got your top part. Okay. Then you got these little bitty Phillips head screws. They're only for this. So let's assemble them. Okay. Well, it's a good looking model, isn't it? Very handsome plane. How about that? Every time you all watch my videos, you see, you think, oh, it's a good looking bird, good looking bird. Well, I know, I need new adjectives. But let's just say it's a handsome plane. Anyways, this is the 1200 millimeter or 1.2 meter Nanchang CJ6 version 2. It's the collector's edition. Comes with lights and upgraded landing gear, better motor. Now it runs on 4-cell instead of 3-cell. I mean, you can run a 3-cell too, but 4-cell is going to be what you're going to want to run it on. This is the Chinese Air Force training airplane. Okay, now that's all nice and snug. Everything's settled in good. You know, you don't want to over tighten because you're doing metal into plastic. So you just want to make it nice and snug. Now see, I think I've over tightened that one. So it feels like I may have just stripped it because of my big old gorilla hands. So let me, actually I'm kind of glad that happened. So let me show you a little fix that you can do whenever you believe you've messed something like that up. Take yourself, whatever the glue you like, the Uhu Pour, foam tack, Gorilla Clear glue, just whatever you got. Put your little touch of that stuff right there in that hole. Put your screw back in there. Okay. And then tighten her back down. Now, also, you'll notice that this propeller can kind of turn a little bit in this outer housing. So make sure you've got it nice and clear. You're going to line up your hex head. It'll slide right in there. And now you're going to take a 5mm nut driver. It's going to fit right in there. Okay. Tighten down my 5mm nut driver, and that's going to make up your hub there. Don't like the way that kind of moved. Maybe that's yeah. Well, sorry folks, but I think I'm going to have to mess up my paint on my little hub here. I want to know that is nice and tight. Oh, okay. And there you go. There's the assembled aircraft. We're going to stop right there, and then we'll come back. Oh, wait. Oh, I almost forgot. One more detail. Let's take our pour here. You've got one pitot tube that is supposed to go according to the directions. It's just decorative. I mean, you don't have to put it in. But for the purpose of this video, we'll put it in. Okay, on the left wing should be an indentation somewhere along here. And I don't really see one. Well, maybe that's it there. Yep, that must be it. All right. Yeah, that must be it because it went right in. Okay, so now there's the hole, right? Yeah, it's just a little, tiniest little indentation. Very hard to see. Take a little bit of our pour here, or whatever this Uhu Pour, however you say it. Put that right on in there, pull that back out. Okay. And there's a little stopping point on that pitot tube, and that's how far you push that in. Okay, so the basic assembly's done. There's one more thing that I'm going to point out, but I'm not going to do. Good looking plane, isn't it? Is the connection for the elevator. Okay, you have one control rod that you have to connect. I suggest putting it in the furthest out of the control horn of your elevator servo, okay, and make sure it's level. And from the looks of that, since this is already level and that almost connects, I think I just got to go out just a touch. And well, you know what? I will go ahead and connect it, and because it falls right in line as I let it go down with those holes. So I like maximum amount of throws, except let's go in one more. I like maximum amount of throws, so therefore I'm going to go to the very closest hole in on the horn, or on the control horn, if I can get it to go through the hole there. Just want it to be difficult, but it's okay too. Alright, let it go work its way through there. Sorry, my head's in the way. Okay, well maybe, well, let's just put through whatever one it'll go through. Okay, I'm going to have to well, it looks like it's trying to go through that middle one, but let's not force it because you don't want to mess up your clevis. But anyways, that's the basic assembly. Next we'll go into break here, and then we'll go into electronics and setting your radio up and getting her bound up and seeing how to make sure it, well, first we'll make sure everything works, and then we'll worry about binding it to a receiver. Well, that's it for now. Real quick, I want to get a shout out to RC Verse. He's a great little site. He's starting out just like me. He's got the hobby, the Carbon Cub S Plus on there. He's got the little Sport Cub. I believe he's got a Timber Turbo, some Arma stuff, and some Bashers, and some. Just a great little site. You need to check him out. That's RC Verse. They're on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description of this video. I will also put a link to the purchase of this airplane. It runs on a 2200 4-cell is what's recommended. Big battery base, so you can probably get bigger than that. Thank you so much for watching. We'll get to the next electronics part of the video and the control surfaces in the next video, and part 2 of the build of the 1200 millimeter CJ6 version 2 by FMS. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless y'all. Goodbye. Alright folks, got the CJ6 version 2 completely put together, bound up to my DX9, and I'm putting, just got the electronics all put together. She's all bound up to my DX9 as I just said, and just to show you a few things, I've show you how the retracts work on my gear switch. Now these retracts do appear to be like oleos, but they're not. But they're very, very robust, very strong. Got a nav light underneath. Now it has a single split flap in the middle. Have that set to, there's my takeoff, no flaps. Okay, no flaps, takeoff, landing flaps on a 2-second deployment. I didn't see in the manual for called out for an elevator to flap mix. Then again, it's, you know, doesn't really say. And so I'll have to see when I fly it as whether it needs that. So let's put the landing gear down for now. Elevate. Now, you'll notice that, don't let that alarm you, that the rudder moves and then it moves inside here also. That's fine because it's on a sliding gear. So they understand that when you're flying, that's still going to work. That's on a Y together. I was thinking that I needed to do a mix for that, but you don't. It works just fine without it. Now there it is, of course, the flaps up. And let me, while we're still filming, okay, throttle cut is now, throttle's on. Nice, powerful motor, 4-cell. Okay, throttle's back off now. And let me turn all the lights out, and you can just see how bright these lights are. Get all the lights turned out. Give me just a moment. Get everything turned out. And you can see just how incredibly bright those lights are. And look at that, even that under the beacon underneath, how nice and bright that is. So definitely low light conditions, stuff like that, you won't have any problem seeing this aircraft. Okay, there's the build. Now I've got 30% expo all the way around on all control surfaces, with 100% throws. My low rates are going to be 100 or 70% throws with 30% expo. A 2-second deployment on the flaps. The as far as hooking everything up, one thing I found in the last video, you noticed that I was having a hard time with this connector. Well, this is why you want to keep yourself a nice little rotary tool. Set that sucker on there, get a little shot inside that one control horn, open that up, and boy, she fit in there just like in a glove, a custom knit glove, and did just perfectly. Got that fuel tube and all, and it was already centered. All the trim as far as the control surface, the ailerons, the elevator, they were only off by just a touch. So not even enough to want for me, and I'm such a perfectionist, not even enough for me to want to mechanically, just a little touch of the trim on the radio took care of. Even they were really just off just a touch. So a little bit of sub trim and she's fine. She's locked in nice. Hopefully we'll be able to get to a maiden to you in a few days. To give you a little, now I have not, we have to excuse the electronics inside. I have not cleaned up my wiring yet because there is a crow's nest of wire. Got a little pull tab here, a nice strong rare earth magnet. Okay, there's my Spectrum 2200. And CG, I believe is supposed to be right here in this first panel line, even with this sticker here. So let's turn it over. It's a low wing plane, so you're going to want to turn it over. Find even with that, and maybe just a touch tail heavy. So if it's a little touch tail heavy, what do? You move the battery forward towards the motor. So if that's the case, let's try doing it this way, right there on what I imagine that panel line to be. Yeah, maybe just a touch. But if it seems a little tail heavy, move the battery towards the engine a little bit. If it seems a little nose heavy, too much for you, move the battery back some. You should not have to put weight in a plane. Now I know some of them are just so far off, and you only have one amount of placement for your battery, so you may not, and it may be, and if it's designed that way and it doesn't balance right with the called out battery, then it's a design flaw if you have to add weight in order to get the CG right. But you may have to do that. Now, the most immediate mods I'm going to do to this plane right off the bat is give her a clear coat with my polyacrylic Minwax. I'm going to give it a nice light dusting. I'll keep the canopy off of it and cover up the electronics. Give a nice light dusting to everything, both sides. And then just think of that as a nice hard wax job on your car. So there you go, folks. That is the finished assembly of the FMS CJ6 version 2 collector's edition. It's called the Nanchang CJ6. It's a Chinese trainer, aircraft trainer from the 50s and early 60s. So thank you for watching. This is Fat Guy Flies RC. I hope to get a maiden up for you soon. I'm sure I've left out all kinds of information, but you know, hey, we all learn, right, at the same rate. And once again, shout out to RC Verse. Nice little site. I will put a link to his site in my video for this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless y'all, and bye-bye.